Hello everyone, Razorblade Mango here, and today I just wanted to talk about a story that broke recently that has some interesting implications regarding PlayStation, and I would just like to talk about it for a little bit and speculate a little bit because it just sounds fun. So if you haven't heard the news, Tokyo Game Show is going to be happening later this year from September 26th to the 29th, and this will be the first time since 2019 that PlayStation will actually be an exhibitor at this event, which is interesting considering PlayStation doesn't really do events at all anymore outside of China Joy and maybe the very rare appearance they've made since the start of this new gen that I'm struggling to really think about. When was the last time they actually had a big presence at any of these in-person trade shows or anything like that? Again, outside of China Joy, which is a big event for them considering their continuing investment in the Chinese market. And so I'm going to be reading from an article from Push Square from writer Liam Croft over there that says, PlayStation returns as TGS exhibitor for the first time since 2019. And I'll of course include a link to it in the description box so you can read it at your own leisure. But Croft says in this article, PlayStation will officially return to the Tokyo Game Show this year after being announced as part of the 731, goddamn, company-strong list of exhibitors for the event. This is said to be the most exhibitors the Japanese Expo has ever had, with a total of 3,190 booths showcasing the latest games and accessories, both within Japan and overseas. The last time Sony had a presence at TGS, it signed up for 3 days of live streaming, focusing on various PS4 titles releasing around the time. The biggest was a Death Stranding demo, which was complemented by in-depth looks at other games such as Final Fantasy VII Remake, Neo 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and Yakuza Like a Dragon. It hasn't announced any plans for 2024 yet, besides the fact it'll be there at the show. And as the article aptly states, the timing for this is interesting because it theoretically would be after PlayStation has announced the PS5 Pro. Considering we don't really have any games that are, I guess, coupled with the Pro as far as, oh, this is what you need to buy this console for. By this point that Tokyo Game Show happens, we might have seen something from PlayStation, or at least they've shown off. I'm not gonna sit here and over speculate and say, oh, they're gonna be showing their entire slate for the whole second half of the generation and everything like that. I think Sony is still gonna be continuing their very light dropping of new announcements that they've been on, this whole cadence they've been doing the last few years. So I think by this point we'll only maybe know about 1 or 2 games that aren't Death Stranding 2 that are going to be coming out in 2025. And then you also have Kojima himself making a tweet about Tokyo Game Show. So some people have, with that have speculated, oh, we're going to see Death Stranding 2 at this event, which normally I would kind of go, hey, slow your rolls a little bit. But the timing of it is not unbelievable to me. It actually lends a little bit more credence considering I'm sure Death Stranding 2 is going to benefit immensely from PS5 Pro. I'm sure it would be smart of PlayStation and Kojima to come to Tokyo Game Show, the largest gaming convention in Japan, and show off Death Stranding 2. And I think by this point as well, when Tokyo Game Show happens, we'll probably have a date for Until Dawn, remaster, remake, whatever you want to call it. We'll have a release date for Lego Horizon Adventures. Astrobot will be out by this point, so there's really no reason showcasing that unless there's going to be some kind of PS5 Pro upgrade. But the reason this is so interesting to me, it's not because of the PS5 Pro. It's not because of Death Stranding 2. It is because this is the first time PlayStation has been an attendee at a big in-person gaming convention for a very long time. And they're specifically doing it at Tokyo Game Show. They didn't really do anything massive outside of, press demos for Astrobot and LEGO Horizon Adventures at the Summer Games Fest. They had a very muted presentation at the end of May outside of Astrobot. And I see this as kind of I'm really curious under which leadership this decision to return to Tokyo Game Show was greenlit. I wonder if this was in the works when Jim Ryan was still around, or I wonder if this was kind of the new CEOs thinking, let's do this. Now that Jimmy Boy is away, he's off on an island somewhere sipping a mojito, not making any decisions for PlayStation anymore. Let's show our audience, our hardcore players, that, hey, we haven't forgotten about Japan. We haven't forgotten about the people that brought us to this point. And I'm not going to over speculate and say, oh my god, PlayStation's going to announce a bunch of more Japanese focused games. They're going to be funding more weird and wacky things in the style of Sony Japan. No, those days are done. But I see this as kind of extending an olive branch to a more niche part of their audience that keeps up with them, people like me, people that actually care about their legacy, and kind of seeing this as a good faith gesture that's like, hey, we're not going to go back to the way things were, but we haven't forgotten about you guys yet. And it costs money to, I really have to stress that. Besides China Joy, they have avoided coming to these in-person events in order to save money. They've sat on their hands. They've kind of went, well, we're PlayStation. We don't really need to make ourselves known at these events. We don't really need to have an exhibit here. And I have to stress that it costs a fuckload of money to do this. It costs a lot of money to fly people out. It costs a lot of money to set up these booths. Never mind paying for the damn booth to the company that runs Tokyo Game Show itself. There has to be a good reason, besides probably showing it off with the PS5 Pro, why they would do this. And normally I would think Sony would just go, oh, well, we'll just announce the PS5 Pro in a blog post and maybe do another state of play and call it a day from there, because that's just been the cadence for quite a few years now, ever since COVID. This has been the thing that they have done. Online only presentations, very little in terms of in-person stuff, no sense of really bringing a community together in a convention to get people talking, nothing really like that. And I'm not going to say it's damaged their financials at all. It's probably saved them a lot of money doing it. But as a hardcore audience that is kind of going, hey, what's going on? Why are you guys behaving in such a weird, conceited way? This to me is like a tiny little shade of them maybe thinking, well, let's do this at least. I would like to know who was the one that put the stamp on, like, let's go to Tokyo Game Show. Because this to me is not a Jim Ryan move. A Jim Ryan move to me would just be, well, let's announce the PS5 Pro in a blog post, let's save some money, and I'll get a nicer bonus at the end of the year because of it. This to me is more of a new guard decision. And if that's true, and I don't have any evidence to say otherwise, because I don't know how long in the works an event like this needs to, the planning needs to be for this, as far as the financials and the planning and the organization and everything. I'm going to assume that this is a new guard decision from PlayStation. And if it is, then that to me is a decent short-term sign that maybe we're gonna slowly start to get back on the right track. Maybe. I'm not gonna start celebrating just yet. I'm not gonna start fucking speculating that we're gonna get Bloodborne 2 at this goddamn thing. I'm just saying, them being here at Tokyo Game Show, them bothering to come here in person to begin with, that means something. And as a longtime PlayStation guy, I appreciate it. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you all later. Goodbye.